if you take away all the front, you are the same. You get sick, you need food, you feel hungry, you go to hospital, we are all the same. You feel the pain, the sorrow, it's all the same. So it's all because of the community we live in differ from the other. So sometimes we think differently. Actually, we are the same. I'm not too sure why Thaksin asked me to speak. But sometimes I think it's because I consider myself as an ASEAN citizen, Why I say that? I've held 2 ASEAN posts. One as a chairman of CERCA. There is a center, South Asian Center for Agricultural Research, which is based in Philippines. Basically, it's ASEAN, Then, of course, PSU was a member of CERCA. I'm not sure whether Thaksin is a member. And the other one, I've been chairman of ASAHIL. ASAHIL, actually, is a very old Association of South Asian Institution of Higher Learning, which is based in Chulalongkorn University. It was established in 1955. Even long before the idea of ASEAN was created, the universities then already knew they need to work together. So that was why in 1955, ASAHIL was established. So on that 2 bases, I consider myself as qualified to talk on behalf of ASEAN, On the onset, I must congratulate Thaksin University for organizing this meeting to discuss actually a new paradigm, not only for higher education, but education at every level, in ASEAN. It is not only appropriate, but timely, since democratization of higher education, especially higher education worldwide, including member of ASEAN, has increased university enrollment manifold within a short period. As a consequence, universities are producing graduates in all disciplines, and sometimes some of them cannot find work, because they are not in sync with the market needs. This is the story, because we all, I'm talking about the university in general, we tend to produce so many graduates and they cannot find employment, and they become very angry. They not only disappointed, but many of them are very angry that after so many years of education, they are not able to find employment. So this is something we have to think for the future, how we must help one another between ASEAN, so that we must reduce this difficulty faced by our graduate. So universities ought to be more responsible to ensure that their education and training are not only suitable, but relevant, so that the graduates are readily absorbed into the job market. And today, the job market is shrinking everywhere due to economic slowdown. So university education we should also provide more than just the information, but we must make sure there is a foundation for building of entrepreneurship, so that the graduate will have the ability to generate self-employment. This is a challenge for all of us, Can we do it, Can we educate students that when they go out, they can generate their own employment? It's easier for us to say, but trying to develop graduates who eventually can leave the university and generate their own employment is indeed very challenging. You have to consider this. I like also to discuss, because finally education is all about the curriculum you develop, So the curriculum is the soul of education, So we need to, before we discuss the strategies and curriculum development, it it is necessary to understand the background of higher education in ASEAN, So we must understand how higher education in ASEAN evolved, Compared to many regions, higher education in ASEAN is very recent, Universities were only established in the late 18th century by the colonial power, with the exception of Thailand. Until recently, only one university was set up in each ASEAN nation, for example, Chulalongkorn in Thailand, University of Malaya in both Singapore and Malaysia, Universitas Indonesia in Indonesia, Vietnam National University in Vietnam, Rangoon University in Myanmar, and University of the Philippines in the Philippines. So, this was only about 100 years ago, So, university education in ASEAN was actually at that time very elitist, I must tell you a story, When I came back to work, I came back from London, I went to work in University of Malaya. There was only one university in Malaysia in the 60s, So University of Science Penang was just founded. So we only had, for many years, only one university. And that too, it was a branch like Patulung, one branch in Singapore, one branch in Kuala Lumpur. So it was very small. It was very difficult. You know why I went abroad to study? Because I was not smart enough to get admission to University of Malaya. So I had to go overseas. So the cleverest were to remain behind to study at the University of Malaya. So in a sense, the university then was very elitist. Only the best, could get admission into the local university. So competition was very stiff. But, however, the standard, was very high. Since the best could get to campus, so the competition is very high. So the bar is very high, because when you take in the top student, they set a very high standard. Your B, your A, you see, one thing you have to understand, we cannot, you must understand this, in the university education, no two universities is the same. The A in one university is not the A in the other university, because it depends on the student cohort, who are the students in the campus. So if you talk about Ivy League, so the A in Ivy League is not the A in a community college, it is different. So, but it's not wrong, to have the A, but then we must know where we come from. Are you from Harvard? So even the A in Cambridge is not the same as the A, say, in Liverpool, or for that matter, in some other university in UK. So there's nothing wrong, because in the population, there are many layers of level of competency, So there is no harm. It doesn't mean that if you don't get A for Cambridge, you are no good, No. It all relates to our own capability. So we must not assume that if you don't get A for Cambridge, you cannot get job. No. You must find some employment that fits in with your own capability. Or you must go to the university that match your capability. So that nobody is outside the education arena, So it doesn't mean you don't go to Chulalongkorn or Thammasat, you should not study, No. You must find the place where it fits you. So the idea is not to exclude you from the system. So this is the philosophy of higher education, that people should be given the opportunity depending on their own capability, The graduate, of course, there are only very few students in the university, say 50 years ago. They were held in very high esteem, even in Thailand, and had very little problem in securing work. In fact, many of the old graduates got the job before they even graduated, It's no longer the case with rapid expansion in higher education. A significant number of graduates fail to gain employment or are working in positions which do not commensurate with their education or ability. In other words, they are prepared to take on a job which is lower than what they should be doing actually, matching their qualification. Universities, especially in ASEAN, should initiate major restructuring of all academic programs to suit the current economic environment. Indeed, this is very challenging. The priority is to make sure graduates are ready for the job market. Today, for the top student, you don't have to worry. For the majority, you must make sure that they are prepared for the job market, because that's what they are looking for, some employment. Of course, change is a very difficult process, but nevertheless, it's a constant thing. We need to ensure relevance and, more importantly, employability of graduates. So university education has to be wholesome. This is a big, I use the word wholesome, and I will explain to you why I use the word wholesome, regardless of discipline. I want to use my example sometimes, my own journey, because I don't have any case study. Sometimes I use my journey in life as a case study, I was trained as a veterinary scientist, I was trained as a veterinary surgeon, but I never practiced for one day, because I left to do postgraduate at London, So so we must have that capability as an undergraduate, to pursue whatever we like to do. You must have the confidence. So I never practiced as a veterinary surgeon. So I went on to do research instead. So I chose research because I wanted to go back to teach in the university. So that was why I never practiced as a surgeon. So university education has to be wholesome regardless of discipline. A wholesome education should provide not only the knowledge, but also the working skill, as well as the ability to promote, more important, we might have the ability to promote human advancement, That was why this is all about, How can we help others to progress in life? In other words, university graduates should be equipped with in-depth understanding of issues confronting human existence and the impact it causes today to the environment. Sadly, with the exception of a few universities today are not providing students with the wholesome education because the academic model are in most part obsolete or very old, Furthermore, the faculty is not equipped to handle this transformation, which is very necessary. The undergraduate degree structure was modeled to meet the needs of the previous century, where the social and economic conditions were different from today's reality. Many ASEAN nations have evolved from agrarian to manufacturing base. In case of Singapore, its economy is focused on service and advanced manufacturing, which are driven by innovation and intensive application of knowledge. The more advanced ASEAN nation is in a position to emulate Singapore, but they need to put in place a proper education infrastructure. The standard of education has a profound effect on the country's economy. Singapore, as we know, has invested heavily in higher education and research, and even school. I think I should qualify myself. Singapore has invested not only in higher education, but a lot in the school system. In fact, today the Singapore school curriculum is a model which is emulated by many other countries. So they have to invest in human engineering and modifying the school curriculum so that they become very competitive.